Are we living in the days where Jesus said it would be like it was in the days of Noah? Do the days of Noah foreshadow what we're going to experience in our day before Jesus comes? No. Let me talk about that with you today. And we're going to Matthew 24, verse 34, and read to verse 40. And look at this quite carefully. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Then two shall be in the field, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Now the generation he was speaking to, as though he just spread out his arms in front of them and said, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled, would see everything that was listed in Matthew. He said all these things. And go back to find at the beginning of Matthew 24, where he began with his list of what they would see in their generation. It was the temple destruction. He compared that to the unexpected event of the flood that came upon Noah, just as Jerusalem was going to have unexpected destruction from Rome. Now, Noah's example is not, listen to me, it's not a foreshadow of the secret coming of Jesus in a rapture. It's an unexpected crisis of destruction. That is solely what it's talking about. And he stresses that in verses 43 down to 44. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Now, thieves, we know, steal. But we're not talking about stealing here. He's talking about breaking up this house. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh. It's not an unseen coming of a thief that he's focusing on. It's the unexpectedness of his coming, just like it was in the days of Noah. They knew not until the flood came and took them all away. It's the aspect of nobody knowing the time, nobody predicting it, whether they saw him or not. You could see him, and the destruction still take you unexpectedly. You weren't expecting to see anybody, let alone see him at that moment in time. So when a thief breaks into your house, you don't know what time it's going to happen. Jesus said we can prepare before he comes, so long as we know he's going to come. And the pre-tribulation secret rapture does not fit this scenario. The world saw the flood come when it came, but they didn't expect it. They didn't believe it would come. And the contrast in Noah's day between the people being taken and Noah was that the sinners' lack of belief in this coming destruction caused them to be taken the very day the flood came. It was just in that moment. Notice that people were taken and described as sinners who were eating and drinking and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered in the ark and the flood came and took them all away. The word them is not finding its antecedent with Noah. It's finding its antecedent with those sinners. They knew not. The ones that were eating, the ones that were drinking and marrying and giving in marriage, just going on with life normally. But they didn't expect any coming, and the flood took them away. That can't be a rapture. Are sinners going to be taken in the rapture? No, sinners were taken in destruction in Noah's day. So if that compares to the coming of Jesus, then it's got to be sinners that are taken away in this coming of Jesus, which makes it a destruction. So it's not talking about the rapture. It's not talking about our future when the second coming takes place. Jesus said, so shall it be when he comes. Two would be in the field, the one taken, the other left. Go back again and see exactly this wording. They were eating and drinking, giving in marriage, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. And that's the way it's going to be at the coming of Jesus. 2 shall be in the field, the one taken. You've got to look carefully at who was taken in Noah's day. And people are reading this and coming up with this whole Left Behind mythology, because that's all it is. It's a complete misunderstanding of Scripture. Oh, it makes money. It makes books. It does movies, and the value is in the millions. But if you look at the verses before you read about one being taken and one left in the field, find out who was taken in Noah's day, because that's going to tell you who's going to be taken in the coming of the Son of Man. And those taken in Noah's day were specifically said to be the sinners. Sinners were taken, so it has to be sinners that are taken in this coming of Jesus that Matthew is talking about. The siege of Jerusalem was told and forewarned to the disciples of Jesus. And when the day came, the church remembered what he said. He said that when Jerusalem is surrounded by armies, flee, get out of there. Not one Christian perished in that siege, according to Eusebius, a couple centuries later when he was writing about it. And it was all because of Matthew 24 and all because of Luke 21. Sinners who disbelieved Jesus, though, were taken out in destruction. And the church remained alive, and the sinners were taken in death. It wasn't Noah that was said to be taken by the flood. It's the sinners that were taken. Noah remained alive. So, in this context, wouldn't you want to be left behind? If you go to Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 25, you see the same idea. We read, "See that ye refuse not him that speaketh, for if they escape not, who refused him that spake on earth, much more shall not we escape if we turn away from him that speaketh from heaven. Whose voice then shook the earth, but now he's promised, saying, Yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven. And this word, yet once more, signifieth the removing of those things that are shaken as of things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain." You see, the good things are the things that remain. The things that can be shaken are the bad things. There's no foundation under these people. They've just got sand underneath them. They're not serving God, and they're going to be removed. Wherefore, we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, and the things that cannot be shaken are going to remain. That means the kingdom's going to remain. Let us have grace whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear, for our God is a consuming fire. It's like the wise man who built his house on the rock in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 24. "Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house on a rock. The rain descended, the floods came, the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded on a rock." It couldn't be shaken away. "And every one that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house on the sand, and the rain descended, floods came, winds blew, beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it." So why was the foolish house taken in destruction when the wise man's house remained? Because the wise man believed the words of Christ and obeyed them. Jerusalem disbelieved Jesus' words, wound up falling like the fool's house in AD 70. So it's backwards. You've got it totally flip-flopped when you say that the one taken in the field is the Christian taken up in the rapture, because to be consistent with Noah's account, the one taken has to be the sinner, because the sinner was, quote-unquote, taken in Noah's day in death. And you know, the same thing goes with Lot. If you go to Luke chapter 17 and 28, it says, "Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all." Remember, they in Noah's day were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage, and the flood came and took them all away? Well, fire and brimstone took these people. "Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man's revealed. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and the stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away, and he that's in the field, let him not return back. Remember Lot's wife. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. I tell you, in that night there shall be 2 men in one bed. the one shall be taken, the other left. 2 women shall be grinding together, the one shall be taken and the other left. 2 men shall be in the field, the one taken and the other left. And they answered and said to him, Where, Lord? Where are they going to be taken? He said unto them, Wheresoever the body is, thither will the eagles be gathered together. Some versions actually say vultures. Where there's a corpse, there the vultures will gather together. That's where they're going to be taken. So that's a far cry from being taken up in the rapture, isn't it? So the Greek gives us understanding of vultures when you read eagles. I heard messages that the church is the eagle, and where the carcass is, there will the church be gathered. Oh, no, not in this case. The church isn't the vulture. The very day wrath came, the church was preserved on the earth, and the one remained, while the other was taken in destruction. That's AD 70. The church survived while the unbelievers in Jerusalem were destroyed during that siege. It was a place of death where they were taken to. The pop prophecy books and literature, they've made it popular to think that the ones taken are the church. The ones left behind are the sinners. But that is not what it's saying whatsoever. Now, that doesn't mean Jesus isn't coming in the future. In Matthew chapter 10, verse 23, some verses are talking about AD destruction, AD 70 destruction, when it says Jesus would come. When they persecute you in this town, flee to the next, because I tell you with certainty that you will not have gone through the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. And King James Version says, when they persecute you in this city, flee you into another. And verily I say unto you, you shall not have gone over the cities of Israel, till the Son of Man be come. So the disciples that Jesus spoke to were going to experience these things, because he said, you folks, you aren't going through the cities of Israel till I come. And read in the book of Acts, the Son of Man came in Jerusalem in AD 70. And that verse cannot be referring to a rapture or a resurrection. So are the days of Noah like they are today? Maybe in some ways, but not in the context that Jesus was referring to in Matthew chapter 24. That didn't mean things wouldn't get evil again like they were in the days of Noah. It's pretty evil out there right now. It's pretty dark. But that wasn't what Jesus was talking about in Matthew 24. And so the unexpectedness of his coming is not talking about our future. Now, granted, we don't know when Jesus is going to come and resurrect the church. Take us, change our bodies into immortal ones, take the ones out of the graves that have passed on. We don't know. But that's not what it's talking about in the Bible, in the New Testament, when it says, you know not what hour he cometh. It was talking to those people. And when he said you, he meant you. They were going to be alive in that day, and they would not know when that destruction would come, but they would keep an eye out, because thank God he gave them the signs. So we need to correct our understanding. Now, you might be saying, well, I've believed this for 50 years and I'm not changing horses midstream now. Well, I'm going to be right no matter how many times I have to change. If I'm on my deathbed and God shows me something, bless God, I might have lived all my life believing something else, but I'm going to change, because I want to stand before God and I want him to say to me, well done, thou good and faithful servant. You need to love truth so much that you will change if you have to. God bless you so much.